Hi, I'm Darren Cope, owner of Cope & Co. Now 2025 represents our 25th anniversary as a letting agent. During this time, we've let thousands of properties to thousands of landlords to thousands of tenants. And we've also seen the introduction of major new legislation into the private rental sector. Another piece of legislation is coming in and is probably and undoubtedly the most significant in the last 30 years, and that's the Renters' Rights Bill. If you've watched the other videos that I've done on the bill, you will understand that this will change the private rental sector forever and shape the responsibilities of landlords and letting agents alike. Legislation has been heightened, a reliance on evidence has been amplified, and enforcement powers have been intensified across the board. However, landlords who can navigate these changes will continue to thrive in the private rental sector. Also, I firmly believe that landlords will need the services of letting agents both now and when this bill becomes law. I would say that, wouldn't I? I'm a letting agent, but you've watched the videos, hopefully. What do you think? Do you think that's true? We'll see. One of the ways in which Cope & Co is adapting to these unprecedented changes is our unique lettings and property management service called LetSimple. So this service has been created as a direct response to the Renters' Rights Bill and all it brings. Now, LetSimple, in a nutshell, it's a fully managed lettings and property management service that we think adds far more value for landlords, as well as being both cost effective and providing a more consistent cash flow. Really important moving forward. So with LetSimple, landlords pay a single monthly subscription, which effectively replaces all the usual fees incurred by a landlord when letting a property or setting up a tenancy. So you've got typically setup fees, inventory fees, check-ins, check-outs, deposit registration, referencing fees, periodic inspections, serving notices, you name it, it's included. It'll be included. Also, there will be agreed reductions on the monthly subscription in place after 6 and 12 months. After 6 months, there's a 50% reduction. So the initial fee that's agreed will halve. And after 12 months, there'll be a further reduction and it'll go down again. So effectively, the longer the tenant stays in the property, the lower the monthly payment will become. A massive benefit is that LetSimple includes rent guarantee insurance. Now, this is a nil excess, market-leading rent guarantee policy, which, again, if you've watched the videos, you know will be invaluable as arrears will undoubtedly become more prevalent. As Section 8 replaces the soon-to-be abolished Section 21, any eviction process is likely to take a lot longer than it is currently. Now, the rent guarantee policy that's included offers full rent protection for up to 15 months or until vacant possession up to a value of £50,000. On top of that, the policy also includes £100,000 worth of legal cost cover in order to obtain vacant possession, as Section 8 evictions take longer and potentially are going to cost more. So pretty useful so far. Hopefully you think, well, there's more. So the monthly payment is on a fixed fee structure. It's not a percentage of the rent. The monthly subscriptions are fixed for the duration of the tenancy. So if there is a rent increase during the tenancy, the amount doesn't change. And the monthly subscription is agreed for each individual property. It's done on a property by property basis. It's not, LetSimple is not a blanket management service simply based upon the amount of rent being paid. It's calculated property by property for a far more accurate reflection of the services that are required and obviously the services that are being provided by us. So what extra benefits are included with LetSimple? There's some more. So if a landlord is moving their properties from another agent, the management takeover process is free, which is probably not the same as it is at the moment when you're moving agents. We'll do all the work, we'll liaise with the other agent and get it all done as smooth as possible. We can also help and advise on any notice fees that may be included in your terms and conditions that a landlord may possibly incur should they decide to move over to Cope & Co and take up the LetSimple service. Now, I'll be honest, the larger the portfolio, the better the subscription payment's going to be for the landlord. Now, that's not me being over transparent, it's just common business sense. The more properties that we get on board from a particular landlord, the better rates that landlord is going to get. So just to summarise really, there's many different parts to the Renters' Rights Bill, as you know if you've watched the videos or even done your own research. However, I think the main changes that will affect landlords the most are the following. The abolishment of fixed term tenancies. So this essentially means that all tenancies will be periodic from day one and a tenant can give 2 months notice to vacate at any point. Massive. Now, LetSimple protects the landlord for these potential short-term tenancies. For example, if a tenant only stays for 3 months under a standard charging structure that's in place now, a landlord will have paid a load of upfront costs, all for a 3-month tenancy. And then he'll have to pay another load of upfront costs to get a new tenant in. So over the course of 4 months, you've paid 2 lots of quite hefty initial setup fees. With LetSimple, a 3-month tenancy will cost you 3 months subscription. That's it. So there's no upfront costs anymore. So you'll only pay effectively for the months that a tenant is in situ. And as I've already said, that payment will decrease as time goes on. Now, next is the abolishment of Section 21 notices, the headline provision in the Renters' Rights Bill. A landlord can no longer use this method to regain possession of the property by evicting the tenant. That's not really the big one. The big one is that it's going to be replaced by Section 8. Now, there are both revised and new grounds for repossession under Section 8, as Section 21s will no longer exist. One of these grounds will be rent arrears. However, the bill will increase the mandatory threshold for eviction from 2 to 3 months. That's 2 to 3 months arrears. And it will also increase the required notice to give to a tenant to begin proceedings from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. Meaning, effectively, a landlord cannot serve those eviction proceedings until the tenant is pretty much 4 months behind with the rent. Let's be realistic. Arrears are more likely than anything going to increase based on these new parameters. As I've said, LetSimple includes rent guarantee. If the tenant doesn't pay, the landlord still gets the rent. I believe it's a must now. I believe it's going to be absolutely vital in the new world, especially for landlords who have mortgages on their rental properties. 3 months without rent coming in, still got to pay your mortgage payment. This helps. The rent guarantee obviously helps with that situation. As I've said, we face a substantially longer eviction process as the more complicated Section 8 replaces the more straightforward Section 21. And pretty much every eviction will need a Section 8 notice. This will potentially mean increased legal costs for the landlord. I've already said with LetSimple, included in the rent guarantee policy is £100,000 worth of legal cost cover. Again, this will be invaluable. Across the board, you've seen it in the videos, there will be a far more evidence-based process to evict a tenant. The evidence to support any of the grounds for possession are ramped up. It means better paperwork, more accurate records, detailed audit trails. Everything will need to be absolutely spot on. Regular property inspections will be vital, as the Decent Home Standard, AWAB's law are extended into the private rental sector. Don't forget, they're included with the LetSimple service. Enforcement powers are shifting to the local authorities, and the mechanism for tenants to report potential breaches is much simpler. Compliance is non-negotiable. Now, I know enforcement of legal legislation in the past, it's been pretty lax from the authorities, because basically they haven't had the resources, is the bottom line. They're going to have the resources. The private rental sector database and the landlord ombudsman, the fees, it is reported that the fees that landlords will pay to be a member of those schemes will go towards funding this enforcement, compliance, more officers, and obviously don't forget the fines as well will contribute any that they levy. As far as we go, we keep very detailed audit trails, obviously, very detailed documentary evidence, which we know is vital now and is going to be absolutely essential when wanting to use any of the updated or new grounds for possession. Courts will want to see every I dotted and every T crossed. With over 170 at the last count pieces of legislation governing the private rental sector, and obviously there's now more, compliance and legal knowledge is absolutely vital, and our team are trained on new legislation, always up to date with the latest changes, and are obviously there to help. At Cope & Co, we want to provide a lettings and property management service that is innovative and suits the needs of landlords as the landscape undergoes a monumental change. We want a proactive, collaborative relationship with landlords in order to help maximise returns, ensure compliance, and basically just give landlords the comfort and confidence that everything's taken care of. You know, we will take care of everything. That's the reason. That's the reason for LetSimple. That's the reason we're here. So if you want to discuss any aspect of any of the Renters' Rights Bill, any questions on LetSimple, any questions on anything to do with letting your property, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you for watching, and we really hope you do get in touch, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.